So about a week ago, there was a pretty big weapons change made to Warzone. They nerfed the DMR, they nerfed the Type 63, Mac 10, and Renetti. And with this, it's probably one of the best places the meta of Warzone has actually been. You're in a place where you can actually use a couple of different classes and them be actually good, be competitive, if you will. And I still believe that there is one weapon that is the best weapon in Warzone, and we're going to get to that. But today, what I'm going to be doing is bringing you what my 5 best classes currently, as of right now, are in Warzone. Now, give it 3-4 weeks, and this will probably change again, and I'll keep you updated on that if that happens. But as of right now, I truly believe that these are the best classes in Warzone. You guys should try them out. And with each class, I'm going to kind of explain to you why I use the attachments I use and why I believe that these are some of the best weapons in the game. And if there's some weapons I missed or some attachments that I'm not using that you think I should, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'm always learning and I'm trying to keep you guys updated as well. So if I missed anything, feel free to let me know down in the comments. The one other thing is some of the Black Ops Cold War attachments are very, very confusing. Like, they don't work the way that they say they do. We'll get into that as we go. But as for today, these are my 5 best loadouts in Warzone. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Let's jump into it. So this first class is probably going to be the strangest out of all of them, one that you maybe have not used or tried out, but this is one that's become my favorite, honestly, in the past couple of days, and it has one really strange attachment on it. So starting off with our first class here, I'm going to go through the weapons and all of the perks and why I use them, and then with the rest of the classes, we're just going to go over the weapons and attachments. But as far as this first class goes, this is probably the most unexpected on the list. I'm using the Ram 7 and the Butterfly Kisses, aka the Car 98. Now, these are the same classes that I used before the Cold War weapons were implemented. As far as perks go, EOD, just to counteract any explosives, C4s, Semtex, anything someone's throwing at me. Overkill, so we can use 2 primary weapons. And Amped is probably, honestly, the most important perk to switch between weapons faster. And you're going to see why that is as we look at the classes. Now, after this, we are going to be using a C4 and a heartbeat sensor. Now, what I recommend is that one person on your team be running C4s and the rest either be running Semtex or Thermite. Semtex and Thermite are used for breaching rooms, whereas C4s are the ones that you use to take out vehicles. So I'm normally the one that runs C4s. The rest of my team runs Semtex, Thermites, that kind of thing, so that we are able to breach rooms. And then heartbeat sensor is just standard at this point. Now, as far as the first weapon that we have here, the Ram 7. This is probably the most unexpected one on the list, and I actually really enjoy it. The Ram as a whole is good up close and at mid-range, and with this class setup, you can pick some people off at long range. It has one of the best time to kills in the game, and when you have these attachments, it's got fairly low recoil. So on all the Modern Warfare weapons, we're going to be using the monolithic suppressor, sound suppression, and extra damage range as well. Very important. Pretty much every Modern Warfare gun that you're going to be using, you use this. The FSS Ranger barrel, it's the last barrel that you unlock. Damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Honestly, on this weapon, the recoil control is probably the most important. Commando foregrip for the pretty much same reason, recoil stabilization. A 50 round mag, because when you're playing in team games, the normal size mag just simply isn't enough. Now, this is where things get interesting. Originally, I was using the VLK 3x optic. Recently, I switched to the hollow sight, and I prefer it much more. There's still very low recoil. I can see a little bit more around my screen, and this is honestly the thing that made this class be together for me and why I started using it. So, is it the best weapon in the game? No, but it'll do well at short and mid-range, and that mid-range is where it does better than some other weapons that we're going to look at in the future here. Now, as far as the weapon that we're using with it, you're going to see this one on several classes, the Car 98.
Be advised, UAV is bingo fuel. RTB for resupply.
This is the best sniper rifle right now. It's a one-shot kill to the head, and basically, you're going to want to make sure you're hitting your headshots. The class is designed around faster aim down sights time, again, using monolithic suppressor. The SynGuard Custom 27.6. This one for damage range, bullet velocity. Bullet velocity is probably the most important there. Tac laser and stippled grip tape for faster aim down sights time. And then I use the sniper scope. You can use the VLK ×3 or any other scope. This is just the one I prefer. If you look at this class, it's very clear to see I'm using the Ram 7 for up close and mid-range, and I'm using the sniper rifle for long range. That's what you're going to see in a lot of the classes that we're going to be looking at today. And when it comes to the Car 98, it's not the best for body damage, but if you hit your headshots, that is where this thing reigns supreme. It has a faster aim down sights time, faster mobility than other snipers, and less bullet drop than something like the LW3 from Cold War. So that is why I'm using the Car 98. The Ram really fast fire rate, really good damage profile, and with the right attachments, pretty low recoil. This next class is one for people who don't like reloading. This is an LMG and an SMG put together, and the reason why they work so well is you use the LMG at long and mid range, and you use the SMG at short range. The second class that we have here is the same class setup as before, but this time we are using the Stoner, which is new, and the MAC-10, which is new. Both two weapons from Black Ops Cold War. Now, looking at the attachments we have on the Stoner, it's important to note most of the attachments on Cold War weapons don't actually do what they say. So some of these decisions are going to seem really, really weird. You're just going to have to trust me that they work. So first of all, just like the mono suppressor, on all of your Cold War weapons, you're pretty much going to be using the agency suppressor. After this, you are using the cavalry lance. It says it does vehicle damage, but in reality, this is the only barrel that currently works on the Stoner that increases bullet velocity and therefore increases your range as well. It's the only barrel that works. So you're just going to have to trust me on that one. It says it just does vehicle damage, but I promise you it also ups your bullet velocity. After this, bruiser grip, another one that appearingly doesn't seem like you'd use it. This one says it does melee quickness. I promise you it's going to help you with your recoil. The field agent grip, on the other hand, will not help you with your recoil. So again, doesn't seem like it would work. Again, you're just going to have to trust me. When it comes to your optic, kind of have two options here. You can either use your 2x or your 3x. I much prefer the 2x scope. I tried the 3x and the recoil just seemed weird on it. So 2x is my recommendation. And then the SAS combat stock, just to add a little bit of speed to the mix. This weapon is pretty slow. The aim down sights is pretty slow. So by adding that combat stock, you just have a little bit more of an advantage in your gunfights. This gun is good at long range. It is good at mid range. It's just not good at short range because it has a slow aim down sights time. Now with this gun, you can just pile bullets into people at long range. At mid range, you absolutely melt people. If you mount, this thing has very low recoil. It's definitely the best LMG out of the Cold War weapons, and I recommend that you try it. The only problem with it is it kind of sucks at close range, hence why the weapon that we're using with it is the MAC-10. As of right now, this is the best close range weapon in the game by quite a substantial margin. Up to about 15 meters, you will not lose a gunfight with this weapon. As far as the attachments I'm using on it, again, agency suppressor, no surprise there, works the same as the mono suppressor. Then we have the 5.3 Ranger grip. This one increases bullet velocity, again adding a little bit more range, making your shots be a little bit more accurate. The field agent grip, it actually works on this weapon. This one's for recoil control, pretty simple. This is the big thing that's going to help you with recoil on this weapon, to help you so that you can actually aim at mid-range too. Then we have the Salvo 53 round fast mag. Keep in mind, some of the fast mags on weapons in this game don't work. This is one of them that does. So this just makes it so you have the biggest mag and can reload fast. And the final thing I'm using here is the SAS combat stock, for the same reason that we used it on this Stoner. This weapon is unbelievably good. The one other thing I would add to this, if you've leveled up your battle pass all the way, if you use the gallantry blueprint, the iron sights are a little bit better than the base iron sights for this weapon. But up close, you're not losing a gunfight. This thing absolutely shreds. Right now, up close, this is the best weapon. It has great aim down sights time, great handling, and on top of that, just a amazing fire rate, which makes it really, really good. The third class we have here is a crossover between Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare, with the Amax and the Black Ops Cold War MP5. Now, some people may be surprised by that, but we'll get into that in a second. First of all, starting off with the Amax, the secret to this weapon is hitting headshots. Hit headshots and get used to the recoil pattern. With the right attachments, this is a great long and mid-range weapon. It has an amazing time to kill. You just have to hit your bullets. The downside to this weapon is it has a little bit more recoil than some of the other weapons that we're going to talk about, but it is extremely manageable recoil. So, monolithic suppressor, once again, no surprise there. The Zodiac barrel to improve damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Commando foregrip for recoil stabilization. 45 round mags. Pretty straightforward. It's the largest mag available. And then this one is important to have the VLK 3x optic. You can use the holographic sight. I much prefer the VLK 3x because, as you're going to see with this class, this is my long range weapon. And when I have the 3x optic, I'm much more easily able to hit shots at that long range and counteract snipers and things like that. So like I said, hit your headshots with this weapon and the time to kill is amazing. Now, the reason why I'm using this with the MP5 and not necessarily the MAC-10 is because at mid range with the 3x optic. I don't love the Amax. It's just a beast at long range. So with this MP5, it actually has a better time to kill than the Modern Warfare MP5. And with these attachments, you get a huge drum, and this is what we're working with. The agency suppressor, once again, should be no surprise there. The Ranger barrel, this one, again, improving bullet velocity. The bruiser grip, for the same reason before, the field agent grip doesn't work properly on this gun, so just you're gonna have to trust me with that bruiser grip. The 50 round drum, this is basically the largest magazine we can use. Fast mags doesn't work on this weapon, so make sure you're using the drum and not the fast mag version of it. And then finally, we have the SAS combat stock for the same reason that we have it on other weapons. Now, this thing has incredibly low recoil and a great time to kill at short and even mid-range. So the reason why I'm using it with the Amax is because I could use the Amax at long range and then this up close and at mid-range, and I have an option. I have a good gun at every single range. This was my favorite class until we get to the next one. So this is where we get into the GOAT gun. This is the gun that I think is the current meta within Warzone. It is unbelievable, and that is the FFAR. This thing has an amazing fire rate with the right attachments, low recoil, and on top of this, you can pretty much use it at any single range except for really, really long distances. So again, same class as before, but this time we once again have the Kar 98, the exact same one that we had before, no changes here whatsoever, and then the FFAR. If I didn't get my point across before, the FFAR is currently the best weapon in the game. I don't care what anyone says, this is the best weapon in the game. It shreds at pretty much every single range. The downside to it has a little bit of recoil that you have to get used to. Now, as far as the attachments we're using here, we're using the agency suppressor. Again, it should be no surprise there. After this, we have the task force barrel. This is the last barrel. It improves your damage range, and bullet velocity. Of course, all of those are very important. The one thing that it doesn't help you with, though, is recoil. That is why, oddly, we are using the bruiser grip. I promise you this is going to help you with your recoil. Basically, picture this as a field agent grip, even though that's not what it says it does. You're just going to have to trust me. This one we are using the fast mag on because it does work on this weapon. So this is the largest magazine that has fast mags. And then finally, the SAS combat stock once again. Again, you're going to see several of these attachments over and over again, like the SAS combat stock, like the agency suppressor. Now, this gun shreds up close and at mid-range. It is one of the fastest time to kills in the game. I don't actually find the recoil on it that bad, and really you don't need any other weapon with it. If you have good enough recoil control, you can use it at long range, but where this really reigns supreme is at the short and mid range, hence why I'm using it with the Kar 98. Essentially, I use the FFAR up until 40-50 meters, and then anything longer than that, if I'm on a roof, if we're in the hills, that is when I pull out the sniper rifle. The one downside to this class is you don't really have a weapon that you move around quickly with. Both of them, you move at assault rifle speed or sniper rifle speed, and you just can't move around very quickly unless you have a vehicle. And that is why we have the number 1 class here. And that is the exact same class that we just looked at, the exact same FFAR, with instead of the sniper, with the Mac 10. So, to use this class appropriately, you have to get used to the FFAR recoil pattern first, and then you add the Mac 10 on here. You use the Mac 10 for anything under 10 meters, the FFAR for everything over 10 meters, and you can basically win every single gunfight. So I want to be clear here, these are what I believe are the 5 best loadouts currently in Warzone. However, there are other good weapons that are still good in the game. The M4 from Modern Warfare is still good. The Grau from Modern Warfare is still good. Even the Krig from Black Ops Cold War is decent. All of these weapons are usable. These weapons that we went over with today and these loadouts that we went over today are just my favorite and currently what I believe to be the best. So as I said at the beginning of the video, if you disagree, you can let me know what you think down in the comments. If you agree, you can let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, if it helped you out, it's always appreciated if you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, like what you see, want to stay up to date on all the videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out.